Have you ever heard the term carbon footprint? I like that term and I use it sometimes. But what if I told you that this story is actually invented by one of the major oil companies in the world as a part of their greenwashing strategy? Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Kind Life with Doreon. In today's video, we're digging into the origins of carbon footprint and how big oil companies are using it to keep us distracted from the climate change solutions, and how do they greenwash the ordinary citizens by shifting blame to them. Let's start. We've all heard it before. Turn off the light, drive less, take shorter showers, and do not eat meat, and many other. Because climate change is your fault, my fault, right? But what if I told you that this idea, the personal responsibility narrative, was planted there on purpose? What's a carbon footprint and why do you know it? A carbon footprint is the total amount of the greenhouse gases, including carbon dioxide and other gases, released into the atmosphere as a result of the activities of an individual, a country, organization, event, or a product. It includes driving your car, which is one of the direct emissions, powering your home, even the emissions from producing your own clothes and food, which is considered as the indirect emissions. But here's the thing, the term carbon footprint wasn't born from a scientific paper. It was born in a marketing agency. In 2005, British Petroleum BP launched a massive PR campaign around the idea of the carbon footprint, reportedly spending a lot of money.
What size is your carbon footprint?
The carbon footprint, that I don't know.
Whatever it is, the whole population of the world, make that a very, very big number.
How much carbon I produce? Is that it?
You mean the effect that my living has on the earth in terms of the products I consume?
They even released a carbon footprint calculator online, so you could track your own emissions at home. Meanwhile, they continued drilling oil, expanding their operations, and getting crazy profit. Do you see how they shift the blame from themselves to the ordinary citizens? It was a new powerful strategy, perception operation. Smart. BP spends millions, as I said, on PR. Creating climate change is everyone's responsibility story. Their logo changed, their tone changed, but their business? No, still oil. Let's talk about the psychology of blame. When you feel responsible for climate change, you're more likely to consume green products, avoid criticizing polluting industries, accept inaction as a personal failure. Meanwhile, oil companies keep drilling and minding their business. Airlines keep flying, governments keep subsidizing fossil fuels, and yet we are told to recycle our yogurt cups at home and bring reusable bags, which will save the world, does it? Let's dive into numbers. Approximately 70% of the global emissions are coming from 100 companies, while an average American emitting 15 tons of CO2 per year. A person in Burkina Faso emits just 0.1 CO2. Someone in Turkey about 5 tons. In France, 4.5 tons. Even between the rich countries, the top 10% of the emissions are way more than the bottom 50%. Would you call it justice? I don't. They created online calculators, educational materials, TV ads, all encouraging to reduce your own emissions. But guess who is polluting more and more? And guess who is the actual to blame? And guess who designed that campaign? One of the world's most powerful advertising agencies. Ogilvy. The goal is to shift the conversation away from fossil fuel companies and onto individuals. Instead of asking why BP is still drilling oil, we started to ask, like, Should I bring a reusable bag? Well, that's not a coincidence, that's a strategy, a very well written strategy. And this isn't about individuals, it's about the systems. They shift focus to cover who they are. But my grandma's carbon footprint is a problem? Come on. So, what we should do, let's get real. That doesn't mean individuals have no power. I'm not saying that. We do have power. I still cycle everywhere. I still pay attention my own carbon footprint, and I will always do that way to give my own contribution, myself as Irem, to this world. Because collective action matters. When everyone, or at least so many people, act in the correct way, change comes along. However, personal change alone is a distraction. That's all I'm saying. If it doesn't change power, personal change is not really effective. What we need is regulation, fossil fuel divestment, climate justice, and holding governments and corporations accountable. That's all. So please don't get me wrong, we keep fighting. But when we focus only on individual behavior, we let polluters pollute, and while we are kept distracted, and by doing so we do ignore policy solutions, regulation which is necessary. We do waste time on symbolic change instead of focusing and shifting to systematic change from the roots. I mean, if we want real action on climate, we really need to regulate climate emissions, and we need to check who emits more. Very simple, the equation is. If we want real climate solutions, we really need to take systematic steps. We need to regulate the actions, tax the rich, invest in public transition, clean energy, and obviously green jobs, and end fossil fuel subsides, hold corporations and governments accountable for their actions. For real. Well, all in all, climate change isn't your fault, but fighting it is our responsibility. Together, not just individual, but as a movement, we can still shift the blame back to where it belongs. We can create this awareness, this knowledge now I'm sharing with you, which is a powerful tool to understand how things work and how we are kept distracted from the real problem and therefore the solutions. I believe together we really can shift this narrative and make a positive impact, but at the same time with awareness of who is doing what. Thank you so much for watching me, and see you in my next video. Arrivederci.